Hello everyone, this is Cav Charge Gaming, here with Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires. I play this game modded. I use the SFO Grimhammer mod, as you can see in the upper left hand side of the screen there. In addition to that, I use a couple smaller mods that only change the look of the game. The animations, make them a little more cinematic, color palettes, UI changes, things like that. Really the only other mods that I use that may impact balance is I do use a victory conditions overhaul mod, which only affects some factions. Not all of them are updated as of this time, but it makes the victory conditions a little more interesting among the factions that it does affect. It's not just raise, sack, or occupy X amount of settlements. It's instead going down specific and unique requirements for that given faction, which I find to be a little more engrossing, and it tends to help me actually finish my campaigns instead of getting bored of them partway through. In addition to those, I do use a couple mods that add some more variety to the game, such as Mixu's Legendary Lords, adding a number of Legendary Lords to the game just to make things more dynamic and a little more challenging. Use only a couple extra unit mods that are just too cool not to try to use, like the Dwarven Blimp, I can't remember, Thunderbarge mod, a couple others. And this campaign we're going to be playing today will be experimenting with the Bruisers mod, which is very popular. It's a hero, a recruitable hero, and its balance has been adjusted for SFO Grimhammer. Any mod that I have that adds units is adjusted for SFO Grimhammer before I will download it. Now, we're going to be starting a new campaign in Immortal Empires. And today, we're going to be playing as the Ogre Kingdoms. Specifically, Mr. Greasus, Goldtooth. He is the shockingly obese. He's been sleeping off his recent feast in Krakatoa in the mountains of Morn. Now, I want you guys to know that while I am a very experienced Total War Warhammer player, I had over 2,000 hours in Game 2. I currently stand at almost 400 hours in Game 3. I am still learning. I watch some of the other YouTubers out there, and I do not contain the same amount of massive knowledge of every detail of every unit and every mechanic in the game. But I will talk through my learning experience as we figure things out together. And I feel that this video will be more geared towards a newer player audience, or a player audience that's interested in, not as interested in cheesing as they are just kind of learning as they go, like I will be. So let's take a look at some of his faction effects. Greasus gets extended technology tree and experience gain for units, plus 50% when fighting against Ogre Kingdoms for every tyrant. So we'll be fighting against our own kind and gaining some additional experience. We get diplomatic relations plus 25 with Ogre Kingdoms, which seems a little bit counterintuitive, doesn't it, to the previous faction effect. Fighting against, yeah, for every tyrant we have. I don't know. We'll see what that actually means, or we'll try to figure it out. We get additional treasury rewards when we take on contracts, plus 100%. That seems very powerful. Income from trade tariffs, plus 25%. So Greasus wants to make that money, whether it's through taking on contracts or taking on trade agreements with other factions. Also, Greasus is a fat bastard. His unit mass is plus 25%, so we will be crashing through units, smashing, getting into their back line. That's really kind of what I'm looking forward to in this playthrough. For Greasus specifically, we have income plus rating, 100% for own armies and province. Upkeep for Iron Gut units is minus 40%. That's incredibly powerful. Finally, income from sacking and looting settlements is an additional 25%. So everything is about money with him, either saving money or gaining more money. We've got some Ogre Bulls. This is a monstrous infantry with 80 weapon strength and a bonus versus infantry. Low armor, low melee defense, so very much a charge and damage unit. Moving on to the Man-Eater infantry. Again, a attacking unit. Weapon strength is at 100 this time with armor piercing. Charge bonus at 50, a little higher than the dual weapon ogres. Much higher melee attack at 55 and melee defense a little bit higher at 40. So overall, this is definitely a better unit. Noblars, which is just a expendable spear infantry unit. Really low stats across the board. Noblar trappers have a bit of a ranged attack, but it's not very powerful. Ogre Bulls. These guys have pretty high leadership, but again, low armor, lower weapon strength than the Man-Eaters. So this is kind of your basic Ogre infantry. And finally is the Iron Guts. We have armor piercing melee, high leadership, high speed, lower charge bonus, decent melee attack. So these guys seem pretty darn similar to the Man-Eaters. What's the difference here? 100, 30. Man-Eaters have a little more charge bonus and a little more melee defense. A little better melee attack. A little better leadership. So overall, the Man-Eaters seem to be better than the Iron Guts. No, the Iron Guts have armor, 90 armor. So they're going to have a bit more staying power in the field. Excuse me. Getting over a bit of a cold here. Alright, let's get started. Well, here, wait. So let's take a look at our campaign. We're going to play on very hard campaign difficulty, and we're going to play on normal battle difficulty. Now, keep in mind that SFO does increase the difficulty just by its nature. You have to think a lot more strategically when playing SFO in battles, because unit matchups matter a lot. That being said, I find that normal using SFO is a good difficulty for me. Let's take a look at our end game. We're going to leave most of these by default, but our end game difficulty I do want to crank up a bit. I'm going to set it at 150. I want a really challenging end game, and I've been thinking about kind of what would be a fitting lore friendly end game for the ogres, and they like taking contracts from people with a lot of money. Take care of a pest problem, which to me really would fit with the Vermintide scenario. We've got a pest problem. They're going to pay to deal with it. Our big ogre boys will deal with it. And part of me wants to also include the biggest wah, just because it sounds fun. Possibly the Vampiric Ascension sounds fun as well. With our ogre boys, I believe we will go with these two. And if we click on Ultimate Crisis Mode, it's going to cause both of these to trigger at the same time and exclude the ones that are not checked. So we will have two scenarios that we will play out, and it will be on his L. Advisor, minimal. We don't need his help. Everything else we have set is pretty much correct. I'm going to actually bring this down, make sure this triggers at a little earlier amount of time. And we will start the campaign. We're starting over here in the mountains of Morn. Be in the far eastern portion of the map.
You know why we're here. Meat, loot, it all belongs to us.
Meat and loot. Alright, let's read through how the Goldtooth faction plays. You're to use your armies to set up ogre camps anywhere in the world to benefit from high-tier buildings and other advantages over sedentary settlements. I like that word, sedentary. Ensure each army has a sufficient meat supply during the campaign to prevent attrition from cannibalism. Send surpluses to the Great Maw in return for temporary army bonuses. So we're going to be making sacrifices to the Great Maw. That's pretty cool. Complete challenges with eligible characters to grant them big names, which come with various bonuses and abilities. Certain ogre lords and heroes can earn big names by performing various feats that impress their fellow ogres. A big name, once adopted, confers various bonuses related to the chosen title. Ogre camps, meat, big names. Accept contracts issued by other factions for military action against targeted characters and settlements in return for rewards and improved diplomatic relations with the contract issuers. So contracts are for ogre factions only. They may be offered from time to time by other powers that wish to direct some blunt military force against their enemies. Very nice. We are mercenaries for hire. We can learn some more about the ogre factions. Meat. Ogre armies consume and carry a supply of meat, which they must maintain to avoid suffering attrition. Ogre camps and settlements. Ogre armies can deploy ogre camps as base of operations and resupply. They may even be deployed in hostile territory. Ogres can only access their highest tier of buildings through camps, as ogre settlements cannot grow beyond the third tier of buildings. So that is good to know. Definitely a fact that will play a big factor in how we set up this campaign. Seems like we're going to want to build at least one camp that's not susceptible to enemy attacks, so we can build it up to level 5. Contracts. Ogre factions can take on contracts issued by other factions directly directing their aggression against specific targets in return for generous bounties and the big names, which I'm not going to read through that a second time. Alright, here's our victory condition, or actually, yes. No, this is not one of our victory conditions. Emerging from a cloud of gunpowder smoke came an ogre godly dressed, face blackened by the ashes of his weaponry. There was a jaunty tilt to his hat and a wide smile tacked across his face. "Rudd the Blackened, at your service," he smiled. "Provided you pay me." He hefted a giant lead belcher made from an Empire cannon decorated with the marks of the Foundry of Nuln. You don't pay me, I takes what I'm owed. So we need to capture non in order to get a hero. Queen of the Noblars. Another hero. A pair of green eyes blinked in the foliage as you watched the saber tusk, a spear blade, presses to your neck. Tabby likes to server as a distraction. Lets me sneak up on people. A horde of Noblars emerge from the trees all around. Spears and throwing daggers at the ready. You've been thoroughly ambushed. I suggest you hand over your gold and we can resolve this nice and peacefully. So if we take pig barter, we can get Katarina de Hansenburg. Kill 10,000 enemies in battle. Trap spirits. Wow, another potential hero. I don't know if this is part of the base game or if this is my Legendary Heroes mod, which I think I forgot to mention, which is also SFO balance adjusted. There are a lot of these. An ogre swaggers towards you, enshrouded in thick metal chains, glowing a sickly necromantic gray. Behind him trails a haggard line of souls and bodies, some living, some dead, all ambulatory. So what's he, like a necromancer ogre? Thick metal chains. That looks cool. If you're looking to pay me for my goods, I suggest you get to it. I don't have all day. The ogre's voice was corrupted, as if a corpse rasped its last words with a dying breath. But the power he offered is something to be admired. Browse slave lord if we kill 10,000 enemies. Alright, here's our first campaign victory condition. Have a gross income of 25,000. We need to be making some money. And we also need to construct a mint and a big gem mine. First reward will be Horde Master, Diplomatic Relations plus 30 with all factions. Global recruitment capacity plus 2. So there's our first condition. Just make a crap ton of money per turn. Next, Greasus's overflowing coffers have not diminished his greed, nor his all-consuming desire to conquer everything he sees. The tribe's stealer will unite the ogres of the Mountains of Morn into the largest ogre kingdom in history. We need to maintain control of the following provinces either by direct ownership or through vassals and military allies. Path to the east, Gash Kadron, Ancient Giant Lands, Bone Road, and the Mountains of Morn, which is where we will be going first. The Black Orc, known as Grimgore Ironhide, seeks to challenge Greasus's reign, brazenly dubbing himself Boss of the East. Scepter of Titans will disabuse him of his notion. Destroy the following factions: Grimgore's Ardboys. So we need to take out Grimgore, and we need to... Oh, there are ones that I totally missed. Basically, take over the entire eastern area outside of Cathay. We'll get Hell on Wheels, which gives us a charge bonus plus 20 for Greasus himself, and speed plus 35%. We'll read through these descriptions if we actually get it. We'll get armor plus fit 20 for Greasus Goldtooth, and a ward save for him as well, so it'll really power him up. He'll be wheeling all over the place on his little cart that he uses to carry his massive bulk, and he will be a powerhouse. Finally, we have our last short campaign victory condition. Maintaining strong ties with the Cathayans will ensure their wealth continues to flow into the Horde Master's coffers. Alternatively, Greasus could move against their Draconic Masters directly. After all, they don't call him Drake Crush for nothing. Control at least 5 of the following settlements, either by direct ownership or through vassals and military allies: Shangyang, the Hanyu Port, Kunlun, Weijing, Nangao. So all of the major Cathay settlements. So the one way to go about this would be to form some alliances with the factions that own these regions, which is probably the easiest way to go about this. Or alternatively, go to war and destroy them. Construct the specified building in the following province: Goldtooth's toll gate on the Ivory Road. Alright. So the first reward from that is called Subservient Cathayans. We will get a magic item drop rate plus 10%, camp limit plus 2, and income from trade plus 20% for every ally. That seems very powerful. Alright. So we also have some of these lore friendly pop-ups that come up because of another mod. It's obviously nothing that affects balance. This talks about tyrants. Ogres call the leaders of their tribes tyrants, and it is easy to see why. Tyrants are the biggest and strongest individuals in a hulking race that prides itself on these physical features. To claim rulership over a group of ogres requires a mighty brawler, a creature powerful enough to wrestle a giant to the ground or smash his way through a fortified gate using only his bare fists. An ogre tyrant uses his tremendous size and brawn to dominate, earning the right to command the tribe by displaying prodigious feats of what ogres respect the most: strength, violence, extraordinary girth, and a healthy, all-consuming appetite. The title of tyrant is not a hereditary one. To become a tribe's tyrant, an ogre simply has to beat the existing tyrant in single combat, usually done in traditional one-on-one guts-out fights in the maw pit before the assembled tribe. These conflicts are no-holds-barred displays of bone-crushing violence. A challenge to a tyrant's authority can result in one of two fates for the challenger. If all goes well for the pretender to the throne, he will beat the incumbent tyrant and consume his broken body, taking his place as the head of that kingdom. If the tyrant proves stronger, it is the contender who is beaten down and messily devoured. The way ogres see it, such a battle is unrivaled entertainment, and one of the two fighters will get a good meal to boot. Some of the oldest and longest-serving tyrants are known to sit upon thrones made entirely of the bones of those foolish enough to challenge their rule. Over the years, as the dominant male of the tribe, a tyrant will frequently sire a host of strong offspring. The whelps of the largest ogres usually grow to a maximum size as well. Thus, it is not uncommon for a tyrant to face his progeny in the maw pit, and a successful tyrant will often devour several of his own young over the years. Interesting. All ogres are greedy, but none more so than a tyrant. A gnawing hunger drives ogres to feats of greed, and nobody embodies this insatiable, gluttonous behavior more than a tyrant. The longer he holds the title of tyrant, the more ravenous an ogre leader becomes, and a tyrant desires go beyond just food to also include hoarded wealth and power. The longer they rule, the more tyrants become consumed with their status. To this end, the massive rulers accrue the best war gear in the tribe, often outlandishly large weapons and cumbersome armor. A tyrant's gut plate must not only cover his prodigious stomach, but also the more impressive than anyone else's. Beyond elaborate arms and armor, ogre tyrants can think of little else to spend their plunder on. However, this does not stop them from adding to their stash. Even when a tyrant has filled his hidden hoard cave, he will still readily go to war to snatch up yet more. Tyrants use boastful titles as the latter part of their names, including particular accomplishments during their ascent to the throne. As a successful tyrant's reign of bloodshed extends, so does his name, often resulting in a long list of violent superlatives. Take the now legendary Ulflab, Stonecrusher, Fatgut, Death Cheater, an ogre who remained tyrant of his kingdom for over 90 years before choking to death on his great-grandson's skull.
Greasus, the shockingly obese.
So that should give you a bit of a feel for what these guys' values.
Hold master.
So we have a lord here, a legendary hero. I'm sorry, a hero. He's called Drolg Kin Eater. So he eats his kin. I think we can make that assumption. Very burly fellow. Seems to be a melee hero. His battle effects: unit mass plus 15%, all units and army. So we're going to be even bigger. Meat gain from paddles plus 10%. Very nice. So let's add him to Greasus.
Greasus, the shockingly obese.
Let's take out a rival. Well, let's see what we have here. We have
only one I listen to is
a settlement on the Ivory Road, Valley of Horns, that I am within range of.
No one tells a tyrant what to do.
Their garrison, they're not currently recruiting.
I'm no one in charge round here.
And they have a decent garrison as well. Or we can go after these guys.
Only one I listen to is me.
Take out Gutrug, which is probably what they want us to do. And then go after the Great Hall of Greasus, which is only a tier 1 settlement as well. The same garrison. We don't want these guys to garrison up, so let's
tyrant.
Pre-battle feast. We can increase our charge bonus and speed and our unit mass by spending meat on a feast before the battle to satiate the warrior's appetite. The more meat in the feast, the more powerful their charge will become. But it also gives us vigor, which alright, no, those are the ogre bulls. I think we want to get our infantry unit, which was our dual weapons, get them up against them. Iron Guts would be great as well.
I ain't no gobbo. I'll smell ya.
I mean,
take it all.
There's really no way we can screw this up.
Become a wall of meat. Call me over tyrant. Man-eaters.
Let's just bring our units forward here.
Yeah! Bring me the spoils!
You can see our custom UI. Very bloody, greasy, scully. That's pretty cool. I like it a lot. Oh, missed the Nalbar unit. Okay. Get him in there. Iron Guts.
Attack! Eat him!
Try to flank him.
This way! Greasus goes! Swarm together!
Get these guys in there.
On it!
Just surround them, basically, because we have a lot more units than them.
The whole
What's us do? Alright, let's use that on the their ogre bulls.
over tyrant going. When do we eat?
But we're beating the snot out of the saber tusk pack on both sides.
I want more!
Gotta take that tyrant out.
Take it all!
Gotta fight in the woods here. We're just beating the snot out of everything. Everything that's left is their lord, it looks like.
Me! Shark needs it! Throne bearers, no! Fight in the Emerald!
There it is. We got Drog hitting him and killing some of our little dudes. Greasus wants to get in on this action. This guy cannot last much longer.
Clash of guns!
You can see this epic battle amongst these champions here. Still going.
Pull off their edge!
Oh, on earth is he still going?
When do we eat?
Pioneers are having fun with these Noblars.
Biggest in the tribe!
Alright, finally. Oh, you're kidding me. The ogre bulls are back.
Biggest in the tribe!
Alright. Noblars took a little beating there. You can get more meat, gain to our treasury, or get a little replenishment. I would say meat at this stage is important. Big names unlocked for Greasus Goldtooth. That was fast. We've unlocked the big name Horde Master. It can be selected, conferring powerful bonuses to the character. Also, shockingly obese. Potion of Foolhardiness gives us charge speed and charge bonus. Beautiful.
Greasus, the shockingly obese.
So a couple different ones here. Horde Master. We can reduce our upkeep by 10% and then have a passive ability that gives plus 10 leadership. Or shockingly obese will increase our melee defense by 10 and cause our acceleration and deceleration to be increased by 200%. In this early stages of the game, I feel that the upkeep is definitely the way to go.
The Over-Tyrant. Conquest.
Alright, now we're up against the garrison, which just has your typical ogre bull units, 4 of them, and 3 units of Noblars. The only thing we will do...
I'll smell ya! Iron guts!
Not our iron yet. They should be a frontline unit. We're gonna take our dual weapons
Guts out, boys!
infantry and put them on our flanks. That way they can circle around.
Where's me master?
Our iron guts
Become a wall of meat!
and our Noblars are gonna make up our front line. We'll supplement those with the Greasus and Drogue. I don't know, we'll put these trappers over here somewhere. And,
boys! Bring us meat!
these guys will essentially
Biggest in the tribe!
break the flame.
Let it drive! Off we go! Meat! 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 Thundering forth! Serve the ogres! The more calls! I'll smell ya! Overwhelm them! For the tribe! Devour them!
Here we go. Our front line.
Man-eaters! Looking for meat! Hungry! Ogres! The more calls! Ogres! I ain't no gobbo! Fine! When do we eat? They're dead! Bring us meat! When supper! Tribe on the move! Crush 'em! Rampage this way! Serve the ogres! Ogre Diamond! Hungry! Doublage! Take it all! Biggest in the tribe! Man-eaters! Off we go! Lock me there! The more calls! Ogres! Where's me master? Getting it done! Where's ogre mates? This way! When do we eat?
These guys get over there.
I am legend.
Whoa. Oh,
Where you going? The biggest boss! We's ogre mates! Off we go! When supper! Muncher!
those ones are coming back.
For the more! Looking for meat!
Oh, wait.
Tribe needs
They are
it! Worship my gut plate! Meal time! Get dead! Eat!
Bring him up from behind. And that's the game. That was fun. Yeah. We're definitely going to occupy the region.
I'll take it. Greasus, the shockingly obese.
Gold mining pit. So let's take a look here. So the Great Hall of Greasus has a gold mining pit. It's going to generate us some income. We will probably go ahead and just leave that in place. Thing is, we don't have any growth, but And over here we have our basic military building where you can get some ogre bulls. Noblars are recruitable as well. 165 or 75. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to recruit some ogre bulls this turn, and then we're going to demolish the building and then get some growth. Camp growth on armies. And we probably want to improve this building so that we can get growth there as well.
Over tyrant, Greasus Goldtooth. They better do what I say.
And do all 3 ogre bulls.
Horde master. Tribe lord.
Let's get him training.
This'll do the
some more
trick.
experience, and then him. Obviously, I just went with the additional campaign movement. This is your standard kind of start. Whoa, check that out. Like the technology trees, pretty straightforward. Camp huddle. Population surplus 1 for newly deployed camps. Camp limit +1. And army ability dismember. Which is a hex that gives minus 60% speed, minus 60% acceleration, and minus 60% charge speed. So keep our enemies from escaping.
Greasus looks after his boys.
Forgot to look at our diplomacy options. SFO. Message there. So let's learn a little bit more about Mr. Greasus. Greasus Goldtooth, or to give him his formal title, Trade Lord Greasus, Tribe Stealer, Drake Crush, Gate Crasher, Lord Master Goldtooth, the shockingly obese, was one of many whelps sired by the infamous Gothga, tyrant of the Goldtooth tribe. Like his brother, Greasus grew up to become strong and fat. Unlike his brothers, he killed and ate his own father. After assuming the tyranthood of his tribe and feeling the need to prove himself, Greasus demanded tithes from other kingdoms. All refused the audacious request and began begging for Greasus's head. Who was this upstart who demanded gold and food from them? They would soon learn. Greasus was scheming a way to claim the title of Over-Tyrant, to rule the ogre kingdoms he knew. His deeds must be legendary, and so Greasus set out to conquer the nearby tribes single-handedly. The first to fall met their fate during a midwinter fest. Scaling the mountain above their valley, Greasus heaved boulder after boulder, roaring oaths at the top of his voice until an avalanche of wet snow and rock buried the tribe alive. The second dissenting tribe, that of Gut Badmouth, was paid a visit during the spring of Hoof and Horn feast. There, Greasus challenged Gut to single combat. Badmouth, older and significantly larger, eagerly clambered into the maw pit. Awaiting his challenger, Greasus launched himself gut burst into the defendant's head, breaking his neck. Some felt that Greasus had defied pit fighting traditions, whilst others felt the rules might have been bent, but cleverly. Unperturbed by the debate, Greasus consumed Gut Badmouth, and, without wiping his chin, he beckoned the next challenger. After beating and consuming 3 bruisers in a row, all swore allegiance to Greasus. As word spread of these prodigious deeds, and more like them, many tyrants decided to join the ruthless leader of the Goldtooth tribe. Once again, the Ogre Kingdoms had an over-tyrant. These days, grown older, larger, louder, and richer than ever, the over-tyrant's coffers fill faster than his Noblars can count. Greasus claims he is now too rich to walk, and so instead he chooses to recline on a living throne of Noblar bearers, who haul his esteemed bulk without many expiring from the effort. When speed is of the essence, he discards his living throne in favor of custom-made Noblar-pushed carts, stuffed with gold, gems, and plunder. Yet Greasus' rampant success has not diminished his greed, or his all-consuming desire to conquer everything he sees. So now we have our Ogre Bulls. I'm not sure I want to read through this entire one. They're just big, bad, mean ogres. Alright.
The over-tyrant.
The Maw Gate.
Too rich to walk.
We definitely want to...
There's no gut bigger.
Go after these guys. Let's see what this stance does. So we consume meat. We get minus growth if it's in an enemy province, because we're eating all their stuff. And it reduces our upkeep by 25%. I don't think we want to necessarily do that. We only have... Wait, is that how much meat we have? Or that's how much we're consuming? So where is our actual meat count? Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. We have 74 meat. Yeah, 25 is a lot to consume.
Come on, faster!
We still...
This world will never forget Greasus. Pull me there! Anything they loot belongs to me. They work for Greasus.
And recruit some Noblars. This could be a tough battle. The Noblars are tolerated, they follow the ogres around, they arm themselves with any little thing, and in extreme circumstances they'll jab their enemy in the nether regions with their weapon until the enemy stops moving. Every now and then their sheer number enable them to pull foes down in a tide of snapping bites and stabby blades and pure malice. When things do not go quite so well and they start to die in their droves, well, they're only Noblars.
Trade Lord, Tribe Stealer, Horde Master.
So, okay. The occupying army is pretty much all Noblars and one unit of Ogre Bulls. And the settlement garrison has a unit of Lead Belchers, which is only a half health. Unit of Ogre Bulls, Noblars, and then a bunch of Trappers. And then a Wizard. So this shouldn't be too tough with just all the Noblar spam. Alright, so let's take a look at this battle a little more in depth. This is something I want to do for a more kind of cinematic experience for you guys. Also to try to explain while I'm not in the thick of it what the thinking is, what's happening, what mistakes I made, which I'm sure I will make plenty, and how we can together learn from those And there's a T-Rex skeleton. How cool is that? Okay, so what I'm doing here is I've got our ogre dual weapons, which are anti-infantry, out on our flanks in an attempt to circle around the enemy's flanks. And then I have kind of bunched up here our more armored and basic ogres, as well as our noblars here in the center, just kind of charged through the enemy front line. So the other thing I tried to do, which wound up not working, was I brought Greasus up around the flank as well, because I was looking to try to intercept their lead belcher unit from behind. But fortunately for me, their lead belchers wound up just do they have cigars in their mouths? They do. Alright, that's cool. They wound up not doing that much and wound up engaging in melee. So here we've got our army getting ready to make contact with their front line, which is pretty much entirely made up of noblars. So the outcome of this battle is not really unknown. Let's slow things down a bit here. There we go. Making contact with the front line. Let's see the noblars flying everywhere as our massive troops go in. You can also see that on the flanks, our dual weapons wound up making contact with their trappers, so we totally denied them any kind of value at all. See some ogre on Noblar carnage here. They routed pretty quickly. Coming up here to the front line, we've gotten into their back line at this point. They're running from us. Just kind of shredded them. We've now made melee contact with their lead belchers before Greasus even came around. Ogre bowls there. The biggest challenge wound up just being their legendary lord and their fire belly. It took a long time to get him to yield. And then their noblars kept coming back from being routed. I also had this unit of ogre bulls that really escaped the initial trades unscathed. Here's the fire belly taking on our legendary hero, Mr. Drope. Oops. Coming over here, let's take a look at our battle. Some of their other ogre units. That Nobbler just chasing people off there. Greasus is coming to try to help out with this legendary lord. Or I suppose he wasn't legendary. Vanilla lord. There we have our ogre bulls paired up against their ogre bulls, but they're at much lower health, and we're also hitting them with trappers. So, battle is essentially won at this point. We're both very meaty and take a lot of hits for actual units to die. Really just did damage to him to get him to rout there. That pretty much does it.